Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be, my fellows. My name is Karen A., and I'm here in Jerusalem with the Afro-Euro Reco12 podcast. Reco12 offers a family of recovery sources for those suffering from all addictions, all afflictions. So whether you are a workaholic, an alcoholic, a sex and love addict, a compulsive overeater, compulsive under overeater, anorexic, a bulimic, a gambler, a hoarder, an Al-Anon, or anything else, we hope that you will hear something from someone who has gone through what you might be going through now. We hope you can identify with one of the many speakers on the Reco12.com website, where there are so many wonderful recorded shares. If you'd like to speak and have your own experience, strength, and hope in your fellowship, getting recovery through the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous, I invite you to reach out to me. I will put my number in the chat, and we'd love to have you share on the Afro-Euro Reco12 podcast. If you would like to contribute a seventh tradition to this podcast, we do have some technical costs for the Zoom account, etc. You can go to reco12.com/support, and you can pay with PayPal or Venmo. It is my honor, my privilege, my happiness to invite my colleague in recovery, Binyamin H. from South Africa, who evidently has a different time zone than me, though most of the year South Africa and Israel are in the same time zone. But of course, God is everything, so we roll with it. And without further ado, I'm going to introduce Binyamin, who will share his experience, strength, and hope for about 25 minutes. Please write your questions in the chat. Binyamin will be able to address them at the end of his share, or jot them down on a piece of paper or iPhone or whatever you use these days. And we'll get some questions live with Binyamin from someone who has been in recovery, who lives this program day by day, one day at a time. Binyamin, welcome, and thank you so much for joining us.
Karen, thank you so much for that absolutely wonderful introduction. I really appreciate that. And thank you for everyone doing service within the meeting and asking me to be of service. My name is Binyamin Halflesh, and I am a recovered alcoholic. Now, what does that mean? What does that mean? I have recovered from a seemingly hopeless state of mind and body. So, I have this allergy, a bodily allergy, that when I take a drink, it relaxes me. I have a sense of ease and comfort that comes upon me. But that allergy breaks out into more. I need more of that thing. And it doesn't happen to normal people. It doesn't happen to me if I take a drink of water. It doesn't happen to me when I have a bite of pizza. It only, for me, happens when I take a drink of alcohol. And my body demands more. The second part of the illness is the mental obsession. With the mental obsession is at late stages, I know I can't drink anymore. I know it. Like, I know it's bad for me. I know that me taking a drink will not make this better. However, the knowledge of that is irrelevant, because I still take a drink, which sets off the physical allergy. Okay, but why do I get that mental obsession? And that's the third part. I'm in so much spiritual pain that I have no other option. Our book describes it in a very beautiful way, in the doctor's opinion. And I'm going to share my experience with that. Because sharing out of a book is all well and good. But experiencing it is a whole different level. Restless, irritable, and discontent. That's how I show up. So 26 June 2018, that was when my sobriety started. 30 June 2018 is when God removed the obsession for me to drink. I had many times, so many death experiences. I don't even think I remember them all. I mean, that already is not a relatively normal life, to be quite honest. God took my hand and he placed me into a rehab. Now, wonderful, I had to do a detox. We have to get physically removed from that. I had to physically get removed from it. There was just no way that I could stop on my own. And I made that choice. I thought I was going into a depression clinic. It wasn't. There were a lot of alcoholics and other drug addicts. Funnily enough, I was the only one with depression. No, my case is unique. We suffer from terminal uniqueness. Yeah, so the thing was, as I had a massive white light spiritual experience within that rehab facilitation while working through these steps. Now you would think, oh, wonderful. He's working the steps, had a spiritual experience. Okay, his life is going to be rocketed into the fourth dimension. He's going to be wonderful. All his dreams are going to come true now. That's not my experience. Fortunately and unfortunately, no. Let me restate that. It worked out as God would have it work out. No one really explained what alcoholism is in that facility. I worked through a 12-step program, but it was not from the big book of AA. It was not from following the clear-cut directions that were given. Subsequently, not really writing a fourth step. This came in retrospect after years, so I'm just taking you back to that experience. Not really writing a fourth step. Writing some story that gives me absolutely no information on how I show up and what my deeper retrospect is. Not doing a fifth step at all. Sharing it with a counselor is not the same as sharing it with a person like me. A counselor is all well and good, but he's not one of us. He does not have the illness. He does not have the solution either, because it's not necessary for him to have one. Now take that. Went, still no desire to drink. The obsession has been removed, absolutely amazing. Yet I'm restless, irritable, and discontented without a drink in me. So I just stopped working, basically, got fired. And for 4.5 years, I could ride the absolutely zero program, me having no experience with the program. And page 52. Let me get that up. This is how I showed up for 4.5 years, because the Euro story always ended at the same place, mom and pop's house. Now, could I be of service to them? Yeah. But this is how I showed up 4.5 years without taking a drink. Let's see. We had to ask ourselves why we shouldn't apply to our human problems the same readiness to change our point of view. We were having trouble with personal relationships. We couldn't control our emotional natures. My personal relationships were shot with my parents, my brother. This is sober. This is me not drinking. We were having trouble with, we couldn't control our emotional natures. I had a dog that was my dog, trained her, fed her, looked after her. I was her owner. She only listened to me. A very big dog. It's like a 50-kilogram dog. One time I flew into a fit of rage and literally beat that dog that I love. Sober. This is fun. We were prey to misery and depression. We couldn't make a living. The thoughts of suicide came back. Just thinking, why? What am I doing? I'm not drinking. What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? Couldn't make a living. I had some jobs I could keep it for like a long period of time, but nothing with a career. Doing ridiculous things. Earning like, let's say, if this is American, let's say earning maybe $200 a month. Yeah, fun. Couldn't make a living. We had a feeling of uselessness. I couldn't be of real help to anyone. We were full of fear, so much. What is wrong with me? What's going on? I had this spiritual experience. I know what's going on. Like, God, where are you? What is happening? We were unhappy, very. We couldn't seem to be of real help to other people. Tried to be, but couldn't. Was not the basic solution of these bedevilments more important than whether we should see newsreels of lunar flight? Of course it was. Now I would, not wanting to add or take away from the book, my experiences, wasn't the basic solution of these bedevilments more important than whether I have the wonderful career, the brand spanking new car, her? We all have that her or him. Yeah, doesn't really work out quite well if I'm not in fit spiritual condition, if I do not take this. Now, during those 4.5 years, I got into, fortunately, got another job after I quit. Usually that's how it works. I quit jobs, funnily enough, having no plan, and got a job as a runner for a restaurant. I have 2 degrees. I have 2 degrees in finance. I'm very educated. I'm intelligent. And I'm a runner for a restaurant because I literally cannot make a living. And I remember standing outside that restaurant. And I mean, I had some spiritual practice and tried to connect to God, but felt so disconnected from the source, from the power. And standing outside that restaurant, the only thing that came back to me is get back to AA. That's it. That's it. And at least I had enough money to get back to AA. That was in a different town. So I had to drive around about 30 kilometers for just to getting there. And thank God, it wasn't one of the discussion meetings where everyone spoke about their problems and their cats and what their wife did or what the husband did. That it was a big book meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous and that the people actually carried a message. Because first round, I got surrendered by alcohol. My second hard surrender was by life itself. And I got back to AA and I asked the people, I need someone to sponsor me. And it's quite funny. I think that person that connected me to my first sponsor is actually in this meeting right now because she was awake, because she knew what the disease of alcoholism is. And she connected me to someone that also had the solution. And that's the loving hand of God ripping me out of death once again. And I started with the process, actually doing this. The first question my sponsor asked is, do you have alcoholism? I'm like, yeah, of course. It's like, okay, what is alcoholism? I drink too much. Yeah, that's not the real definition, to be quite honest. That is a part of it, yes, definitely. And they all started asking me these questions. What happens to me before I take that drink? How do I feel? Okay, and then once your brain clicks knowing that you shouldn't take one, do you still take one? Yeah. Okay. And once you take one, can you control and enjoy your drinking? Nope. And he qualified me as the directions are within in the book. And I wanted to stop. And this time around, I had guidance. People lovingly taking my hand and guiding me through these steps where I start to become of service, where I am of service. Going through a step 3, step 4, giving my life over to the care of God as we understood Him. That really actually happened, to be quite honest, after I've actually done the 7th step as well. Now, he took me through these steps, a proper inventory, one where I'm actually looking at where are my mistakes? Where are my mistakes for the resentments, the fears, the sexual conduct, or relational conduct? And that just broke up a new level for me. It's like, oh my God, and I'm the one causing this. I'm the one causing this. And after that experience, I sat in prayer meditation in the morning, like really having a interesting spiritual ride as God is starting to remove the defects of character from me. Still have them, still have some, not perfect, but I told him, I'll carry this message. I'll carry this message to the still suffering alcoholic. You sort out everything else. Where I stay, what I do for a living, who's in my life, who's not in my life, what my income is, etc. Everything else. I'll carry this message. The next day I got retrenched. So much fun. So much fun. And it was not an easy ride. A week after that, someone that I had interest in romantically, we had a good relationship, taken out of my life. Nope, not this. Nope, this is getting in the way. And people that I love. It was not an easy road, but it was very simple. This is a very simple program, not easy, because a price has to be paid. It means it means the destruction of selfishness and self-centeredness. And I can't do that. So let's fast forward during their experiences and how growth within that, within the fellowship, and where I am currently. You have the background a bit, mostly. But how a day looks for me is I start with prayer and meditation. That's the first, my feet don't even hit the ground and I've already said my first prayers and connected to God. Then I go into my formal prayer and meditation focuses for the day so that I can stay connected to God. I get some direction in those prayers, send a message here, reach out to this person, whatever it might be. And I sponsor men, women as well. I don't mind. It doesn't. If God gives me the direction to do so, I would do. Because that's the step 12. We try to carry this message to the still suffering alcoholic and practice these principles in all our affairs. And I don't do these things perfectly, but I show up and I ask God for the strength because I know I'm not the one doing this. I'm literally incapable. I've tried running this on my own strength. I've tried running the show. It does not work. It doesn't work. I tried it. Within this current situation that I find myself, currently where I am, so working with, let's say, currently I have about 3 people I'm guiding through the work. There are other newcomers that I reach out to, should they come onto meetings. Online meetings, I provide my information. People can contact me, and I actually send messages back. So I am of service. I do a security or chair on online meetings. So I keep in service, I keep in my recovery, and I'm a part of the fellowship. So that my hand can reach out to the newcomer when they are here, so that the hand of AA can be when newcomers come, and to give them an accurate representation of this program, not of what I think. Not of what I think. With that current situation, let's have honesty. One of the 3 indispensables, willingness, honesty, and open-mindedness, is I received a situation, or I'm currently in a work situation, which is very uncomfortable to me. I have been placed on a performance enhancement plan at work. Now, this has caused fear because I did not expect that at all, to be quite honest. My quarterly reviews were relatively well. I thought that I was on track, but there are some individual aspects that they would like me to improve upon. And I have a fear of finance. That is one of the character defects. Oh, God will take care of all the other things except the finance thing. There I need my own power. No, it doesn't work like that. And having the discussions with people, and I ask God in the morning, as directed, I invite God in. God, come with me to work because I don't know what I'm going to do. Please be with me. Show me how I must show up. Show me what I must be. And also discussing it with people, writing about it. And then here's the kicker. Go help someone else. Be of service to someone else. Reaching out to newcomers and being a part of this program. And it has given me some peace, definitely. Knowing that God is in control of this. I still need to act. I still need to take my responsibilities. I still need to go through the process. I still need to follow the direction. But He is with me. And I need His strength through this. And if it weren't for the people that are in my life, if it weren't for this program, if it weren't for my connection to God and my fit spiritual condition, this would have taken me out, or very closely to it. And for me, there are 1 or 2 options. carry on as best we could, blotting out the intolerable consciousness of our situation, or accept spiritual help. And these are alternatives, they're not choices. If I do the one, I'll get one result. If I do the other, I'll get the other result. I don't have a choice in this. My life is unmanageable. And how wonderful that I have a program, a set of spiritual toolkits laid at my feet that I can pick up. So that even during hard times, times of trial, things not working out as I would want them to work out, I can still have this connection to God. And I can still practice these principles in all my affairs. And not perfectly. I still make mistakes. But I can be useful to other people. And I can have a sense of ease and comfort while going through these trials. And to anyone that is new, please grab onto this. Please grab onto this and follow the directions. If you don't know how to look for a sponsor, look for someone that's the most peaceful, not the one that's the loudest. You'll see it in their eyes. You'll see it in their deportment. Ask them to take you through the work. They will happily help you. And if they can't, they'll direct you to someone who can, so that you can be free of yourself and have freedom. I'm going to end with a prayer as we close. This is a very beautiful prayer. It's Thomas Merton, the prayer of unknowing. My Lord God, I have no idea where I'm going. I do not see the road ahead of me. I cannot know for certain where it will end, nor do I really know myself. And the fact that I think I'm following your will does not mean that I am actually doing so. But I believe that the desire to please you does in fact please you. And I hope I have that desire in all that I am doing. I hope that I will never do anything apart from that desire. And I know that if I do this, you will lead me by the right road, though I may know nothing about it. Therefore, I will trust you always, though I may seem to be lost and in the shadow of death. I will not fear, for you are ever with me, and you will never leave me to face my perils alone. Amen. Thank you so much, everyone, for letting me be of service.
Got questions about addiction, recovery, or just life in general? Let's noodle it out together. Grab your big book, a pen, a highlighter, and a notepad, and join Nikki M and me, Justin B, on Reco12 Noodle It Out with Nikki M. Each episode, we take real-life questions, ours, yours, and those from the recovery community, and dig deep into the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous to find real, practical solutions. So, if you're ready to do the work and apply the solution, tune in to Noodle It Out with Nikki M, streaming now on your favorite podcast platform.
Wow, Binyamin, thank you so much. Your presence is so calming, and seems that you have so much peace and manageability and clarity that was once not there. The visual about the dog struck me really deeply, and definitely relate as being somebody who has a lot of degrees and a lot of intelligence, and yet knowledge availed us of nothing, in my disease, whether it's a substance or codependency or any other sort of craziness. All those degrees or pedigree doesn't help me, and we're different from other people. And I heard that in your share. I heard that this is a disease that, sees no colors, sees no social standing. It didn't care that you have money in the bank, that you're educated, that you may, that someone may come from an upper middle class family or an upper class family, or, be a bum on Skid Row, that when it hits, it hits. And the other thing that I heard is that only a spiritual path, and only a spiritual path where you work day in and day out, pick up the tools, pick up sponsors, pick up sponsees, go through the work one step at a time, one day at a time, tackle life, one issue at a time, and hopefully one joy at a time. I'm hearing that that's your, as our friend Nikki M says, lifestyle for a lifetime. I'm really hearing that in what you're saying. And I'm so grateful for you making that clear, your own personal journey, your own personal pain. You spoke about the terminal uniqueness, how no one has my issues, no one has my narcissistic parent, no one has my graveyard of broken hearts and broken relationships, no one has my broken heart, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I always tell sponsees, don't be such a show off. I could outshine you with my drama and trauma. So, get a grip. And we all can, And if we're here using that trauma and drama to help others, then we're in the right place. Family, I'm going to ask you guys to post your questions for Binyamin on the chat, and we'll take them one by one. I'll do as I do and kick off the questioning. Binyamin, when did you know that you had the desperation of a drowning man? When was it like it's this way or it's this way, or I'm toast, when did you realize that there's no other option for Binyamin H?
Oh, Karen, that is an absolutely wonderful question. That actually happened quite a few times. It was not just once. The first time was when I got beaten into a state of reasonableness by alcohol, where I almost died 3 times in the space of 10 minutes, driving basically blackout drunk. And if on the highway, and if my hand didn't veer off to the right-hand side, I wouldn't have woken up. That was the first time. The second time was actually, again, being woken up by God spiritually and saying, okay, I've had this not drinking and working on myself, because I'm very important and I need to work on myself for 4.5 years, and I'm going insane and I want to commit suicide and I'm not happy and I'm useless to the people around me. And I just broke spiritually. And then with that as well, a relative breaking point came now with my current situation, where I'm on a performance enhancement plan, which I did not expect. And I know that God is the only answer. Give me the strength to go through this. So it has been a practice of that. And then on the positive side is, clearly it's been working out. So that's why I keep doing it. So thank you, Corin.
Okay, thank you. Brandy put some questions in the chat I think are great. How do you deal with difficult people or when it's hard for you to deal with others?
This is where the fit spiritual condition comes in. I don't need to deal with them. And not in the sense of I ignore them and tell them that they're assholes, pardon the word, and that I don't need to deal with them. And if they just do what I say, everything will be okay. No, they're people. Do they irritate me? Yeah, sick man's prayer. Because I know I'm sick just as they are. I might not like their symptoms and how they show up in my life. But can I act kindly and tolerantly and towards them with patience? Can I see that they don't have the gift of this program maybe? And can I see that they're also created in the image of my Creator and that they are also a child of God? And how can I be of service to them? Sometimes being of service to them is just not speaking with them, just not dealing with them. Sometimes it is I need to go to the person that I hate's house and be of service to them. Why? Because that's the direction. That's the direction. Yeah.
I love what you just said. You said, sometimes I need to not speak to them, and sometimes I need to, go to their house and help them out. And what I'm hearing in there, what you didn't say outright, but what was in between the lines is that you're pausing and you're praying for the next right thought or action, right? For those of you who has, one of those moms or one of those dads, sometimes it's one of those days where who would higher power have you be is not calling that sick person. Another time you might meditate, pray, pause, and who he would have you be is, making them a meal or buying them something. Hi, this is my kid. And that's prayer. And I certainly relate to that in my own family. Sometimes I'm going to get a prescription for a sick relative, and sometimes I need to block them on WhatsApp because they're actually harassing me and putting me down, to put it mildly. And every time it will be different. And Binyamin mentions fit spiritual condition. So if I've got no sleep, a deadline at work, I'm feeling whatever, hormonal, it probably won't be a day that service for that person or being helpful will be to interact, right? It will be helpful to lay low, meditate, pause a lot, and take it easier, I have a bunch of teenagers in my house, a lot of sick man's prayer, a lot of pausing, a lot of humility, I'm often awake several hours before they are. Though we did not like their symptoms, Binyamin said that. I do not like able-bodied, well, who knows if they're really able-bodied. I guess they're not, or they would be, but teens sleeping in for hours and hours when there's so much to do and, laundry to fold and food to be made and, and errands to run. And there's a great big world out there, go to the gym, do something, but they're sleeping, right? Anyway, this is about Binyamin, but we're talking about hard people, difficult people. There are no shortage of them, my boss, my friend, my relative. Maybe I'm going to just segue there, but Brandy, we'll get back to your next question. Talk about how you pause. Talk about how you get direction for how to handle those difficult people.
Hey Spearheads, if you're looking to dive deeper into the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous with people who live the solution, then you won't want to miss Reco12 Big Book Roundtable. Join David G., Nikki M., and me, the moderator Justin B., 3 recovered addicts from multiple fellowships, as we break down the big book line by line. In each 30-minute episode, we share our experience, strength, and hope in a real, raw, and practical roundtable discussion. So, if you are ready to learn and apply what you learn, tune in to Reco12 Big Book Roundtable on your favorite podcast platform.
So, again, absolutely wonderful question. The real answer is I practiced it. That's it. I have found during these hard times, challenging times is this happens automatically, like the step 10. Like I'm literally not thinking about it, but I've been practicing it so much over the past 2.5 years that it is literally just automatic. Some people actually sometimes think I'm sighing because usually I just take a deep breath. But it's a practice that I learned while I get up in the morning and do my prayers and meditations and some breathing. I do some breathing exercise as well. That was in the beginning. And people think I'm sighing, but I'm not. I'm actually just breathing real loudly. I'm taking a deep breath in. And that's where God is in the breath, in the pause, in that millisecond, where I'm not jumping into self. A real example of this is that's how it becomes automatic. Is I just don't say stuff anymore. I'm usually very impulsive. But again, I practice these. A great example of this is this Tuesday, I got the privilege of going on a hike close to me, which was absolutely amazing. And I usually I work late nights because I work American hours and I'm in South Africa. So I go to sleep at like 12 after work, etc. And usually I wake up at around about 7 a.m. Okay, good sleep. Now the thing is, I had to prepare because the hike was at 8. So I woke up at 5:30 in the morning so that I can do my prayers and meditations and I can do my readings and I can connect to God. Because if that is not the first thing that I do, then I know my day is going to be horrible. So I practice these. So they are basically, they happen automatically at this stage.
How do you have peace with your mistakes and any harms that you could not make amends for if that had happened?
You can make amends for it. You can. Even if the person is not here anymore. Follow the directions of someone that is guiding you through the work. Our book suggests people that we cannot see, we might write a kindly letter to. So then write the letter. And how you write that letter and where you need to take that letter. Follow the people that guide you. You can make amends. You can make amends. And amends is not just going to the people or going to that person and saying you're sorry. That is a part of it. And being honest with them, open with them. But it's a change in character. It's a change in the actions that I take. If I have harmed that person, what is the harm? I don't know. But maybe it's treating them with disrespect. Maybe it's doing whatever. So this is specifically for someone that I'm assuming is not with us anymore. Then treat other people with respect and treat other people with love. So it is a change in character and a change in action that keeps the amends alive, so to say. That would be my answer to that one.
Amazing. So we spoke about amends. That's step 9, right?
Yep.
And I guess we're into 10, 11, and 12. Maybe you could talk about your on awakening throughout the day, when we retire at night, your kind of daily routine.
Oh yeah. Ooh, definitely. So as my step 11, sought through prayer and meditation to increase our conscious contact of God as we understood him. That starts in the morning. Page 84 to 86, 87. That is I still use that today. Literally, I still use that today. I got so used to the words that's the prayers that I go into. So I wake up with prayer. First thing I say is, thank you, God, for returning my soul to me. Then I get into my knees and I have my first prayer. So that's the first thing I do in the morning. Then, of course, quickly have a coffee if I need to go to the bathroom, whatever. Just so you know, I'm not Mr. Spiritual. I still need to actually do physical things as well. But then I go for about, current practice is 20 minutes meditation and prayer. I sit in the same place and I either read some of the scriptures. That's just a part of my practice, a spiritual book. And as well, I read 2 pages of the first 164 of the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. And it's wonderful, the new insights that one gets. The pause, the step 10. Again, is I watch for selfishness, resentment, dishonesty, and fear. I watch for these things because my spirit feels off balance if I'm one of those 4 things. Then again, as I stated, my feet are trained. Then I stop. That's where the pause comes in. I stop. Okay, God, what is this? Usually it's fear. Sometimes it's a resentment, but usually it's fear. And then I follow the instruction. I ask God to remove it from me. And usually I don't have to go make an amends because fortunately I get the pause. But if I have harmed someone, I go make the amends. And then as well, I think of someone I can help. Maybe send a message. Maybe just send a message. So that's the step 10. And then the step 12 is try carrying this message to the still suffering alcoholic and practicing these principles in all our affairs. That continues. So how that works is I reach out to people. I'm in service. I'm in AA and I am in service. And of course, with regards to that is I reach out to the newcomer. Hey, how are you doing? How's that thinking of yours today? So I keep in those practices, but also I work through steps 1 through 9 as well. So if I'm relatively current with my process, Karen. So that would be the practices, how the pause goes, and how I try and carry this message to the still suffering alcoholic.
I'm not sure if I could hear my connection just got bad.
Ooh, pardon your sound. I can hear you are a bit. The sound is a bit soft, but I'm sure we'll be able to hear you.
Okay. Well, we only have about 3 minutes left. There was one more question in the chat. Perhaps you want to answer that briefly and just go ahead and pray us out for the day.
Okay. So that's the last question. And then maybe just go out with the saying of the Serenity Prayer. So self-forgiveness while trying to improve. Put yourself on, do your inventory, do your step 5, get your list of people, 5, 6, 7, get the list of people you have harmed and go make amends to them. Put yourself at the bottom of that list. And once you have found that you have made amends to the people you have harmed, you might find that you don't need to forgive yourself anymore. And see them as sick people. They can't make you slip. No one has control over you. Stay in fit spiritual condition. This is what the program is. And follow guidance and direction. And God will be with you. That's what it is. I hope that answered your question. Okay. I am then going to close us out with the saying of the Serenity Prayer. Who loves us? God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Thy will be done, not mine. Thank you, everyone on the meeting. Thank you, Karen, for asking me to be of service. And thank you for everyone doing service in this meeting.
Thank you. That was so beautiful. Thank you, Binyamin. Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.
There.